re-signed. We're talking about it all on this video. So, in this video is going to be the Eastern Conference team first, and tomorrow we'll be talking about the Western Conference. If this video hits, let's say, if this video can get 60 likes in the first day that it's out, I will do part 2 tomorrow, as you're seeing this video. So, tonight, Eastern Conference teams, tomorrow, Western Conference teams. So, make sure to slap a like in the video if you want to see part 2. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have just hit a little bit over 4.5k, which is so crazy. We're about to hit 5k subs. Someone jokingly commented 5k subs by Christmas, which obviously isn't going to happen, but I'm gonna go absolutely crazy once we hit 5k. That is such a big milestone, at least to me it is, and you know, that just really means so much to me, guys, and I love every single one of you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much for the support you guys have shown me over the past 4 years, almost 4 years coming up in February, that I've been on YouTube, so thank you guys so much. Yesterday we talked about the top 10 point guards in the NBA, so if you haven't watched that video, make sure you go check it out. I'm trying to think out other top 10 ideas I can do, because you guys really seem to like those sort of fun, entertaining ranking videos that I come up with, so yeah, that was yesterday. And if you want to see tomorrow's video, make sure to slap a like on the video, and yeah, I guess we can finally get started on today's video. So I do have a Bleacher Report article up right now, just so I can get a little bit of a sense on a so-called professional's opinion on what they think. And obviously I'm going to be grading it myself. You guys can also grade maybe your personal favorite teams, or maybe a team you thought that was really interesting. You guys can do that down in the comments. I think that'd be definitely a lot of fun, so I want to know your guys' opinion. So we're going to be looking at grading every NBA's team off-season so far, but it's basically done because preseason games start in like a week or so. So this is basically what the teams are probably going to be ending up looking like at the start of the season on December 22nd. Very close already, I know. So, Eastern Conference teams, I'm assuming they're in alphabetical order. So first is the Atlanta Hawks, which is a very popular team and a very exciting new sort of team that's sort of on the rise, and I'm very excited to watch. So, this person gave the Atlanta Hawks an A- grade for their off-season. They also have their notable additions, which are Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Chris Dunn, Rajon Rondo, Tony Snell, Onanyike Okongwu in the draft. But their subtractions include Dwayne Dedman, Jeff Teague, DeAndre Bembry, and Vince Carter. So, definitely gained a lot. And in my opinion, no offense to any of these players, did not lose a lot. So, I can see why their grade would be so high. Yeah, I do have to say, they have to at least be a B+, in my opinion. I honestly think A- might have been their best case scenario. I think an A+ for them, or an A would have been if they if they traded their pick away for like a star, or like a superstar player to play alongside Trae Young. So if they would have traded their pick and maybe like an asset to get like Bradley Beal or a player like that, I feel like that would have been like an A+ move. But they kept the pick, and they did pick a player who already is sort of set, you know, a 4 or 5, which so you have Clint Capella, John Collins. So Onanyike isn't the best addition, at least in my opinion, on that team, but he is a great talent. So I think actually A- is spot on. I think A- is perfect. Like I said before in a couple of my videos, I love the signing of Danilo Gallinari, who is one of the best spot-up three-point shooters in the league. He's a very capable scorer as well, so having him in the lineup as well at the 3, you could play Danilo and John Collins and Clint Capella all at the same time. You have a 6'10", basically, front court of them 3. Then you have either Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter, even Kevin Huerter at the 2, and then you have Trae at the 1. That's a pretty big squad, honestly, in my opinion. And obviously, with Trae Young being the undersized man, you can hide him a lot on defense now with having a bigger lineup like that. So I actually really enjoy that sort of starting 5, I feel like. Also, obviously, the addition of Rajon Rondo, the veteran leadership he's going to bring, and obviously the sort of teacher role he's going to play, I hope, you know, in Trae Young's young career is going to be massive. I feel like these are going to be good training years for him. These next 2 years that he's under Rondo, while Rondo's under contract, it's going to be immense for Trae Young. I think they did almost perfectly fine. They only lost really Jeff Teague, who is a good point guard for sure, but adding Rondo really cuts that off. Other than that, I think the Atlanta Hawks maybe have had a perfect offseason. Coming up next is the Boston Celtics, and they graded Boston Celtics offseason with a C. Now that's pretty bad in my opinion. They added Tristan Thompson, Jeff Teague, Aaron Naismith, and Peyton Pritchard to the team while losing Gordon Hayward, Enes Kanter, and Brad Wanamaker, while re-signing, obviously, the star Jason Tatum, which is pretty good in my opinion. So obviously losing Gordon Hayward was pretty rough, and I think it was supposed to be a sign and trade with them in Charlotte for, I think, Nicholas Batum or something like that. So they did lose Gordon Hayward, which definitely wasn't the best fit for them, but it was still a talent that they had on their team that they're losing. And as Kanter, I feel like it's going to hurt them a little bit too. He's not the greatest center, obviously not, but he does bring a very good off the bench center type of support that I think a lot of teams in the league are looking for, and I think losing him will hurt a little bit. They did add on, obviously, Tristan Thompson, who was going to obviously relieve that role for them, and you could maybe even start Tristan Thompson at the 4. You have Daniel Tice at the 5, then you can play Jason Tatum at his true position, the small forward, which I wish and pray that they do at least sometime or someday, because I think Jason Tatum having to battle, with bigs for a majority of the games is probably not the greatest idea, at least in my opinion, on his young career, where you really want him to develop a game, practicing a lot, playing at the 3 spot. So that's definitely not that great. Adding Jeff Teague is fine. You get a good backup point guard who could probably still play, a good 10 to 15 minutes a game, being a backup to Kemba Walker. And then Aaron Naismith, who, in my opinion, again, kind of like on Onyeka, was maybe the most, the best player at that time in the draft. But for fit-wise, no. They needed a big, but they drafted another wing, which Boston already has wings up the caboose. They have so many good, solid winged players. This is just adding on to the list of good wings. That's awesome that they're loading up on wings, but they are desperate to find bigs, and when they had the chance, they didn't do anything about it. So, they gave Boston a C. I will give Boston a C plus, B minus. I'll say C plus. They did re-sign Jason Tatum, which obviously was going to happen, but that was a little bit scary. Aaron Naismith is a good player, but not the right position. Tristan Thompson is a good player, but I think they were probably looking for more of a center, not a small ball center. Tristan Thompson maybe 6'8", 6'9", so that's also not the greatest. And Jeff Teague is a decent backup point guard, but nothing super crazy. Obviously, Boston's a young team. They're going to mature with age, so obviously they don't need to do anything drastic right now. They just need to develop Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, keep Kemba Walker where he is, and sort of build around that core, which they have been doing so far. Are they better than they were last year? Maybe, but I guess we're just gonna have to see. But I think a C plus is pretty decent, maybe even a B minus. Now we're on to the Brooklyn Nets, and with the Brooklyn Nets, they gave them a C plus. Man, this is a tough grader. Notable additions are Bruce Brown, Landry Shamet, which I actually really enjoyed that they got, another good shooter, and Jeff Green, good veteran right there. Notable subtractions, though, are Garrett Temple and Dazan Musa. They did re-sign Joe Harris, which was really good for them to keep that good shooter. So, C plus for the Nets. I think that's perfectly fine, because it's nothing totally great. It's nothing totally bad. They just sort of kept the same thing going. I would give them the C plus rather than like a C, which is like average, because they did re-sign Joe Harris, which is very important. Plus, they also added another pretty decent shooter in Landry Shamet. So, I think a C plus, B minus would also be fine. They didn't get any better, but they don't need to do that, because the Lord and Savior himself, Kevin Durant, is coming, and crazy shot blocking center. Adding DeAndre Jordan to the mix as well. They got a good deep team. Their two best players are coming back from surgeries, hopefully healthy, and they're gonna make a big run. So again, kind of like Boston, they don't really need to do anything crazy because their team is already set. So I think a C plus is honestly perfect. Cross your fingers because the Brooklyn Nets are definitely coming, and I'm very excited. Oh God. Now we're on to the Charlotte Hornets, and with the Charlotte Hornets, they gave them an F. Yes, the first F that we're going to see tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Notable additions for the Charlotte Hornets are LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, Vernon Carey Jr., Nick Richards, and Grant Riller. Never heard of that player before. Notable subtractions are Dwayne Bacon, Nicholas Batum, and Willie Gomez, and re-signed Bismack Biyombo. Wow, they gave them an F. Well, lucky for you guys, I am the nice judge. I am the good cop, so I will not give them an F. I will give them, I honestly think, like a C minus. C is good for them. They did get LaMelo Ball, who, yes, is arguably the most highest potential player out of the draft, which isn't bad. They also got Gordon Hayward, which you could say they overpaid for, but who is really going to Charlotte? No one. So the fact that they got Gordon Hayward there, even though they overpaid, isn't all that bad. They needed some sort of talent to have around LaMelo Ball to at least develop him into the player they want him to be. So adding a smart player like Gordon Hayward, who maybe won't even average 15 points per game, but can still be there, be in the right spot for LaMelo to make good, smart decisions for him to develop. For once you do get, good players around LaMelo, he knows what to do. So I think that's really fine. Vernon Carey Jr., I think that's a pretty okay pickup, not gonna lie. And Nick Richards, never really heard of, but losing Nick Batum and Dwayne Bacon and Willie Gomez aren't gonna really destroy you. I honestly think Willie was actually a pretty decent backup big for them, or I think he even started some games as well, so that does hurt them a little bit. So I think a C minus is okay here, just because of they got the best player available in the draft, who is the player who had arguably the highest upside. You did get some sort of good talent around him with Gordon Hayward. You do have talent around him now, so when he does develop, he'll develop with the good players around him that hopefully will carry over to years to come. And now we are on to the Chicago Bulls, and they gave them a C minus for the Chicago Bulls. Dang, that's whoever's grading these are tough crowd. Okay, so notable additions for the Chicago Bulls include Patrick Williams, Devon Dotson, and Garrett Temple. Subtractions include Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison, with notable re-signings of Denzel Valentine. So, a C minus. I can only really see you giving them a C minus if you didn't really approve of their draft of Patrick Williams, which I can see why they did it, because Patrick Williams is a very raw, talented player. You could hopefully pray and mold into a sort of Kawhi, Leonard, Paul George type of player, where you just pray that he develops an offensive game to an already very raw, athletic game, which obviously will make him a good defender in the league. So you hope he gets a good jump shot, you hope he plays smart, you got a good player on your hands. But if that doesn't happen, that's pretty rough in my opinion. You also lost Chris Dunn, who we talked about earlier, being an actually pretty underrated perimeter defender, pretty good backup point guard. Now you don't really have anyone to really do backup point guard. You do have Kobe White, who's obviously, I'm assuming now going to be the starter for that team. They didn't really make the team a whole lot better. They just kept their core and then just added Patrick Williams, which is fine, I guess. You don't really do anything really crazy to sort of speed up the process, which is why I think I'll give them the C. I don't think a C minus he's on a humongous contract, so they probably want to get rid of him as fast as possible. But you're also losing Tristan Thompson, who is actually a pretty underrated player in my opinion. So I think I'm gonna give them like, I want to say like a C minus, but it might even be like a D plus. I'll give them like a C minus because I'm okay with the pick of Okoro. I like the addition of JaVale McGee. So with that, I'll give them a C minus. I think that's fine. I think again, Cleveland doesn't have anything going for them. They're not gonna have anything going for them for a while until they get another, big time top 5, top 3 pick that really lands. Can it be Okoro? Absolutely. Can Colin Sexton have a breakout year this year? Absolutely. But do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not. So, oh my God, they're not being nice to you Eastern Conference fan teams. Okay, well, up next are the Detroit Pistons, and the reporter gave them a F. Yes, a second F already for the Eastern Conference. My God. Notable additions include Jerry Grant, Mason Plumlee, Julio Okafor, Josh Jackson, DeLon Wright, Rodney McGruder, Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, and Sadiq Bey. They are losing, of course, Christian Wood, which is probably their best loss that they had, if that makes any sense. Langston Galloway, Bruce Brown, Luke Kennard, Tony Snell, and Kyrie Thomas. So, dang, they gave them an F. Well, I will say the addition of Jeremy Grant is a good thing, but the contract they gave him is dog duty. Not good. I think it's like a 4-year, $60 million contract for a player who's only going to average between 10 to 15 points per game, maybe give you like 7 or 8 rebounds a game, plays good defense, definitely nothing crazy, but for $60 million, I don't think Jeremy Grant is worth that, no offense to him. They also added another big, Mason Plumlee, and then another big, Julio Okafor, and then they drafted another big with, I think it was Killian Hayes was the big they drafted, so they added way too many bigs to the team, which was super funny. They needed, of course, more guard play, and they didn't get it whatsoever, so I thought that was actually pretty funny. So, do I think an F is required for the Detroit Pistons? I'm gonna have to say maybe yes. I think yes. The only thing they needed to do was to get significantly better at offense, and actually have a good core offense to at least participate in games. I mean, you have Derrick Rose, you have Blake Griffin, like you have something there, and then you add a bunch more bigs to that for no reason. Like, come on, guys. I do like the addition of Jeremy Grant, and I like Killian Hayes. I think be fine. They also got Sadiq Bey, which is a good 3-and-D shooter. That's okay, but they had so much potential to go up this year, and they just stayed stagnant. And if you're Detroit and you're stagnant, you're still probably the worst team in the NBA. So I'll give them like a D minus D, just because I do like the addition of Grant, even though it's a bad contract. They also like Luke Kennard, which was a good shooter, averaging about 15 to 17 points per game for them. He's gone now to the Clippers. Man, that's a big toll. So I'll say D minus to maybe even yes. The F might be required to give the Detroit Pistons when grading their offseason. The Indiana Pacers are up next, and the person who wrote the article gave them a B minus, so pretty average. Notable additions is Cassius Stanley. Notable subtractions are TJ Leaf, and they also re-signed Justin Holiday and Jakar Sampson. So that was pretty average. Nothing very special happened. So I don't like that they gave Indiana a B minus for doing pretty much nothing. I think if you're Indiana, you had to do something. You either had to make a big trade to get a player to play alongside Sabonis, a young sort of developing player that you can build around, or they should have tore it down and got rid of Oladipo, Turner, and tried to get some assets to build around Sabonis with a good core with Brogdon, and they didn't do anything. They sort of still kept the same team that's probably going to finish between 5 and 7 in next year's NBA standings. Is that good? Is that just where the Pacers want to be? I guess that's the answer we got. So I'm gonna give them like a C, because like they're Plus is going to help out a lot when they do lose Jay Crowder and Derrick Jones Jr. He's definitely not the offensive player either of those players can be, but on defense he's arguably better or even at the same level as them. So being a fan of Portland, I know how good Mo Harkless can be when he's in a good system on a good team, and I feel like obviously his time with the Knicks, and I think he was even on the Clippers for a hot minute, doesn't show what kind of player Mo Harkless can be, and I actually really like that pickup. Avery Bradley is of course a great perimeter defender, can play point, can play shooting guard, and can defend, pretty well at almost any position. So that pickup is also very good. Precious is an okay piece for them. I think B plus is perfect. I think B plus is totally fine. They did lose a lot, but they also gained, some things to help hide that. Also with the development, I'm sure Tyler Hero and Chris Dunn are going to have. And also the sort of rocket ship that they're riding on right now being a total Cinderella story in the finals. So they're going to ride that hopefully into next season and playing very well. Again, they kept Bam, they kept Goran, they kept Myers Leonard, which Myers Leonard is definitely being overpaid, but they did keep a good sort of backup, sort of scorer to the team who was probably very valuable more on the bench than on the court. But I think that's totally fine. Obviously, Dragic is the main piece there and the re-signing, so I think B plus is actually perfect for Miami. And man, I'm super excited to see what's going to happen with them. They're either going to be, like I said, riding super high on that finals run, or they might be, the clock struck 12 on them and their Cinderella story's over, and they're going to go back to being a sort of 6th, 7th, 5th seeded team that's not going to really do much in the playoffs. Now we are on to the Milwaukee Bucks, and the reporter gave the Milwaukee Bucks a D plus. Yikes, that's a tough crowd. Okay, well, obviously the notable additions are Drew Holiday, which is the biggest one, DJ Augustine, Bobby Portis, Brian Forbes, and Torrey Craig. But losing Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, Wesley Matthews, Robin Lopez, Ersan Ilyasova, Marvin Williams, and Sterling Brown. My God, that's a lot of pretty decent rotation players that they played last season that are all gone. They did re-sign Pat Connaughton, which is going to lessen that blow, which is good. And like I said, getting Drew Holiday and getting a sort of third to second option to Giannis was probably the most important thing that the Bucks could have done. Is he the perfect fit? Is he the guy that they probably wanted? Probably not, but I think it is someone. And obviously, giving up Eric Bledsoe and players like a lot of rotation pieces to get that, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. So I think giving them a D plus is hitting a little bit too hard. I know the sort of depth of Milwaukee and the way they played was their biggest strength, and you're sort of taking that away. I think a C plus is more favorable. I don't know why they give him a D plus. I know they're losing a lot of depth, but I think the addition of Drew Holiday and hoping and praying that Bobby Portis can keep up some good play, and DJ Augustine doesn't fall too hard. Torrey Craig can get more of an offensive game. They do keep Pat Connaughton, which is good. They still have a lot of obviously good core pieces that they still kept around. I think it's an okay offseason, not the perfect one, but one that I think could get the job done to get Giannis finally in an NBA Finals this upcoming season. Next up on the list is the New York Knicks, and they actually gave the Knicks a C plus, which is probably the highest grade offseason for them in years. So that's definitely not bad if you're a Knicks fan. They added Obi Toppin, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, Austin Rivers, and Emmanuel Quickly to the team, but they did lose some good pieces like Bobby Portis, Mo Harkless, Taj Gibson, Wayne Ellington, and Damian Dotson, re-signing Elfrid Payton as well. So I think the biggest thing was obviously getting Obi Toppin, which apparently the Knicks organization themselves, Obi Toppin, but also the fans were actually really excited that I saw on Twitter to getting Obi Toppin. So I'm pretty sure everyone in the Knicks sort of fandom is high on Obi Toppin, so the reason they got their guy is good. They did get a good backup big, Nerlens Noel. Alec Burks is a good vet, he's a good shooter. The Austin Rivers, I feel like, is a little bit of an underrated signing for them. I think he'd be totally fine. He might even find himself in the starting lineup sometimes with him and RJ Barrett playing together. I think they'd probably rather have Elfrid Payton there, but I guess we could see. But losing Bobby Portis, who I know I was talking about him not being the best player, but he is a player who can still average, 15, 17, 18 points per game, have high rebounding games. That's going to hurt them a little bit. The defense of Mo Harkless, the veteran leadership of Taj Gibson, who's been in the league for a while. I think it's gonna hurt them as well. So I think C plus might be the perfect option for them. Obviously, they didn't sign anyone big. They didn't get their free agent that they've been waiting for the next, 20 years. For the past 20 years, they've been waiting to get someone. But this is a pretty solid offseason, so I will give them a C plus. I think C plus is totally fine for them. The Orlando Magic are next, and my God, this grader, whoever graded these is pretty rough. But they gave Orlando a D, with adding Cole Anthony and Dwayne Bacon to the Orlando Magic while losing DJ Augustine and Wes Iondu, signing MCW, James Ennis III, and Gary Clark. So I think a D is very acceptable for the Orlando Magic, maybe even an F, in my opinion. The Orlando Magic, in my opinion, are where the Pacers are also. They are a team that either needs to make a move to start something nice in Orlando, or tear that sucker down, trade for assets, and start going to the draft again. I do not think the re-signing of Vucevic was a smart idea. I think they need to let him go. They need to trade him for draft picks, some sort of young player, something to help them out. They have Mo Bamba, who is a very good, talented player who's not getting developed because he's not getting enough playing time because he's playing behind one of the top centers in the NBA. I think they need to get rid of Vucevic and get someone different and sort of let Mo Bamba sort of take over that starting role. Whether he sinks or swims, we'll have to see. But they have good young talent like obviously Jonathan Isaac, Aaron Gordon, Markelle Fultz, three really good young pieces with Mo Bamba. They can start going through the draft again if they did trade away Vucevic, who I think is carrying that franchise right now. He's playing very well. I would like to see him on maybe a higher caliber team. I was thinking of maybe like the Warriors trading their second pick for him, and I think that would have been a very favorable trade if I were the Warriors. But with the Clay injury, I think they're probably sort of waiting out for that sort of big push. You know what I mean? They may be able to do something crazy like that next season. But the Orlando Magic have been an irrelevant team for a very long time. They've always been sort of that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seeded team for years, and I hate that. So I think a D is actually acceptable the way the reporter gave them. So I will give them a D as well. On to the next one are the Philadelphia 76ers, and the reporter gave Philly a B plus. Wow, that's actually a pretty high grading. They added Danny Green, Seth Curry, Terrence Ferguson, Dwight Howard, and Tyrese Maxey, while losing Al Horford, Josh Richardson, Zaire Smith, Alec Burks, and Roll Neto. I think that's how you say his last name, Neto. Wow, okay, so I'm assuming this reporter liked the idea of adding shooters around Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, which is obviously the best case scenario for them. I think B plus is a little high, in my opinion. I do like that they got rid of Al Horford. Thank God for that. I love Al Horford, but the fit that he had there made no sense, and the contract he got was an absolute robbery on Al Horford's hand. Good for him. He got the bag. He's gonna be set for life now, so good on him. But that was crazy. I don't like the loss of Josh Richardson. I feel like he's a really good 3-and-D type player. He fit really well in that system, but I'm assuming they had to get rid of him for some reason, and they got rid of him. I think he's playing for Dallas now, which is pretty interesting. But they do have Danny Green, who again is a vet who has championship, pedigree in him, who knows how to win. Had a very hard slump last year, but I feel like he'll come back and playing with two really good players like he did on the Lakers. I feel like he'll have sort of an ease going into this next season. Seth Curry, who is one of the best two-point shooters in the NBA. You have Terrence Ferguson, who's a good sort of athletic defender, who will be fine for them. You have Dwight Howard, perfect backup to Joel Embiid. I forgot his name there for a second. Joel Embiid. Hopefully he can learn something from Dwight. I feel like that'd be awesome. So I like their additions. I don't think it's anything crazy good, like a B plus. I might give them like a B minus or a B. I think those probably make more sense to me. It's like they got like a great shooter and they added great depth while keeping some of the players they already had. I think they needed, if anything, more depth to their team. I think B minus is pretty okay. I would like to see maybe more depth for them, maybe in more free agency down the line, or maybe through some more trades. I think that'd be pretty interesting to see. We are now down to the final two, and Toronto is Serge Ibaka while signing Fred VanVleet and Chris Boucher. I think it's Boucher actually. But yeah. So yes, I do like the additions since they did lose Ibaka and Gasol. They got sort of replacements in Baines and Alex Len, who maybe aren't the names of Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, but maybe can keep up the same effort, or at least keep it the same. Make it a little bit less of a dent that losing them will have. They also obviously resigning Fred VanVleet, which, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinion, were going to leave, but he got a big bag, which I'm surprised Toronto decided to pay him out on. I feel like Toronto's a player that maybe a team that they can get a player in free agency, because Toronto is an amazing, beautiful city. Sure, it's in Canada, but I feel like players would want to play there. They also have some of the sickest jerseys in the NBA, but they're giving up a big contract for Fred VanVleet, so I'm very interested to see why they did that. Can I see them being, a top team again, or being a finals competitor? In my opinion, no, because as you all know, NBA playoffs are built for superstars, and whoever usually has the best players usually wins out. Obviously not last season because the bubble, but this upcoming season is hopefully going to be a sort of regular season, and Toronto is just a regular season team in a lot of people's eyes. Can they break out and maybe get out of that mold and be a really good playoff team this year? We will have to see. But I didn't see them get any better talent. They just kept the same talent. So it's probably going to be maybe even a repeat of how they were last season, which isn't bad, but nothing any better than they were. And the last team here, oh god, man. I feel so sorry if you're a fan of like Eastern Conference teams, because these were all pretty average. They gave the Washington Wizards a C+, so pretty average. They added Robin Lopez. I actually didn't know he signed there. That's interesting. Raul Neto, I think that's how you say his first name. I have no idea. But they did get Denny, which is very high on him. Anthony Gill. They didn't lose any players, and they re-signed Davis Bertans, which is obviously their big boy down there shooting immensely from the three-point line. So, for the Wizards, in my opinion, bro, I might mess around and give them maybe like a B+, or not a B+, B-, C+, B-, maybe even a B, because my god, the Wizards were looking really bad there for a hot minute. They were looking like they were going to blow up the team. You didn't know if John Wall or Bradley Beal were going to leave. You didn't know what was going to happen to the draft pick, if they were going to trade it or not, this, that, or the other. I had no idea what was happening to that team, but they kept it all together. As I said, they didn't lose anybody, which is totally crazy from what I was hearing. They did keep Davis Bertans, who is a great big-time three-point or stretch 4, stretch 5 type player for them, which I think is going to help them out a lot. And they added depth with Robin Lopez, and obviously drafting a player who I'm at least very high on, and Denny. So,